Joshua versus Dubois for the IBF Heavyweight Championship of the world. This one's going to be a straight-up scrap. And one thing's for sure, this fight ain't going the distance. It's either going to end in the first 6 rounds, and I won't be surprised if it only goes 3. Taking a deeper look into this fight, looking at AJ, listen, in his last 2 fights, he's looked phenomenal. Powerful, spiteful, calculated. His shots are placed. He's just not swinging and throwing power punches. He's placing his shots. He's using the jabs to set them up. In his last fight, you saw how he was jabbing to the body and coming over the top with that disgusting right hand that stretched Ngannou, left him lifeless on the canvas. And you can tell that's a result of drills. That's a result of footage study, and that's all down to his new team, the addition of Ben Davison and Lee Wiley. Now, Ben Davison, his body of work speaks for itself. He's had multiple world champions, including the undisputed world champion. Currently he's got one of the best stables in boxing today. He's got the likes of, former WBA champion Lee Wood, new addition, former IBF super featherweight champion Joe Cordina. He's got young talents such as Alois Jr. He's got Moses Italma. He's got Fabio Wardley. He's got Pat McCormack. He's got Royston Barney-Smith. I can go on and on. Like he's got a great stable, and together, they bring something unique. So Lee Wiley is someone that's kind of in the background. He's quite hidden. No one really, he doesn't really come out. He doesn't really do interviews. But this guy, is a hidden gem. He's what you call the master strategist. He's the one that analyzes hours and hours of tape and comes up with like a specific game plan. And you can see this in AJ's last 2 fights. And this is something that, kind of complements AJ's style, because you heard Eddie Hearn and, previous people in his team say that he's very methodical and he looks to work with this clear strategy/game plan. Because in previous fights, you can kind of see that, within his team, he had quite a few trainers, and everyone was kind of throwing different kind of instructions at him, and that kind of left him confused as to which route to go down. Whereas now, it's clear, concise, straight to the point, and in his recent performances, you can see this. Now, Daniel Dynamite Dubois, he's also looked just as powerful in his last 2 fights, and you can see his confidence is at an all-time high. He's looking powerful, he's looking determined, which is great to see, especially with all the criticism he's had recently, with people branding him a quitter because of the Usyk and Joyce fights. But people need to remember Dubois is young, where he's had his, L's, as they call it. I like to see them as lessons. Where he's had his lessons in his career, he's come back, he's beat 2 top contenders, and whatever people want to say, however he acquired the belt, he is now a legitimate world champion, and he's going down in history books. And in this fight, he's coming into this fight with fire. He's coming in as the champion, legitimate champion, defending in his hometown, and that's going to give him all the confidence in the world. As well as that, his training set up with Don Charles, Kieran Farrell. They've got him in top form. And let's not forget, Don Charles has years of experience training top heavyweights in world title fights. He's been with Chisora throughout Chisora's attempts at a world title, all those, big fights Chisora had. So, Team Dubois are coming in prepared. In terms of keys to victory, with AJ, he's got to keep the distance. He has to get Dubois' respect. And the reason why I say that is Dubois is the type of guy that's going to come in, throw in the kitchen sink. So, as they say, Joshua's going to let him hold one serious right hand, get his respect immediately. That way, he's going to get Dubois thinking twice before he storms in throwing punches. The counters are going to be key. I feel like, we saw Dubois' previous fights where he was open to the right hand, and although ultimately he did force the stoppage and he did stop both his opponents, he was taking quite a few shots. So that's where I think the counters are going to come in key. And one thing's for sure, he cannot afford to take those kind of shots from AJ. Now, in terms of Dubois and his keys to victory, Dubois needs to pressure Joshua, but in an educated way. AJ is going to be using the jab. He's going to be working off the jab. So Dubois needs to get around that jab and apply pressure. But again, educated pressure. He cannot afford to leave himself open, because if he leaves himself open like he has in his previous fights, then he's going to be open to that lethal right hand. And we've seen what that right hand does time and time again. He should also be targeting Joshua's body, aiming to slowly break him down. Whatever they want to say about AJ's chin, and you know his durability to punches, you can't just knock him out. You're gonna, if you want to, you're gonna have to break him down. AJ's not the type of guy where one shot's gonna take him out. He's gonna have to be broken down. Also, let's not forget as well, AJ and Dubois have shared the ring, and over the past few years, they've mentioned that sparring session a lot. But remember, sparring is sparring, fighting is fighting. So I don't take anything from the sparring, and I don't think it's gonna have an effect on the fight. Now, prediction for the fight. In my opinion, AJ has too much experience at the highest level. He is in his prime physically, he's in his prime mentally, and I just don't see him losing. I see AJ winning this fight in 6 rounds. Again, I won't be surprised if it ends in 3, and I predict it will be from a counter right hand. Those right hands have been looking deadly. And, again, respect to Dubois. It's boxing. Anything can happen. Dubois has come leaps and bounds. He's cemented his legacy in terms of being a world champion. Not a lot of people do that, especially a heavyweight world champion. So, shout out to Dubois as well. Boxing's boxing. Anything can happen, but I say AJ within 6.